Hello, wrestling world. This is Backstage Slam Reports, giving you the latest stories and surprises from WWE. Hit subscribe, and let's go. In every era of wrestling, there are moments that shake the entire landscape. Moments that remind fans that behind the lights, entrances, and championship belts are real people with real emotions. This is one of those stories. Not a scandal, not a controversy, but a powerful human moment happening behind the scenes as one chapter of a legendary family's on-screen journey comes to an unexpected pause. It's a moment that reveals how deeply connected these performers truly are and how much passion they bring to their craft. What follows isn't a corporate exposé or a smear. It's a story about family, loyalty, and the heartbreak that can come when a major storyline shifts direction in ways no one was ready for. When the news broke behind the curtain, when word reached the locker room that Jimmy was stepping away from TV for personal and creative reset reasons, the shock moved through everyone like a wave. Not because anyone was angry, but because the sudden change meant a piece of the family dynamic, one built through years of shared performances, would be missing for a while. The people closest to him had very little time to process it, and for those deeply invested in the group's chemistry, the announcement felt like losing the heartbeat of a story that had defined an era. No drama, no scandal, just the real human sadness of watching someone you care about step away from a role they poured everything into. Roman's reaction to a brother's absence. Those who know Roman know that behind his dominant character is a man with deep loyalty to those he considers family. When he heard the news in his locker room, he reportedly went quiet at first. Not out of anger, but from the weight of understanding what the absence meant on a personal level. Their on-screen bond wasn't manufactured. It came from years of trust, mutual support, and shared dreams. Roman, who carries the burden of leading one of the most celebrated stories in modern wrestling, allowed himself a moment of vulnerability. He knew things would change moving forward, and he felt the emotional weight of it. It wasn't rage. It wasn't drama. It was simply a man feeling the loss of a creative partner and a brother figure stepping away for his own reasons. Jay's silent heartbreak. For Jay, the news landed differently. Twins share something the rest of the world rarely understands. A connection built before birth, strengthened through childhood, and pushed into the spotlight through their careers. When he learned that Jimmy would be stepping away from TV for a while, he reportedly withdrew into himself. Not in anger, but in the quiet way someone grieves when the person they rely on most won't be standing beside them in the ring. Jay sat alone for a long time, not because anything went wrong, but because life had changed in ways he wasn't prepared for. Going forward as a solo act, even temporarily, meant relearning who he is without the other half of the rhythm he'd known for decades. Solo and the weight of family loyalty. Solo has always carried himself with a stoic, powerful presence. But even he felt the emotional shift. The group had become his foundation in WWE's storytelling. To see a key part of that foundation step away hit him harder than many expected. Witnesses saw him trying to keep the group grounded, speaking with Roman, checking on Jay, and quietly processing his own feelings. It wasn't a dramatic scene or a meltdown. It was simply a young performer learning how fragile and precious the bond of a wrestling family can be behind the cameras. The family energy backstage. Backstage, the absence of one of their most joyful, energizing presences was felt immediately. Jimmy had always been one of the guys who made the locker room feel lighter, cracking jokes, supporting younger talent, lifting the energy when schedules got exhausting. His presence was leadership without ego, kindness without theatrics. Crew members, trainers, and performers all felt the change, not because of gossip or tension, but because someone they cared about was taking a step back to regroup, recharge, and realign with his personal path. The creative shift in WWE's storyline. The creative team suddenly found themselves rethinking months of planned arcs. Not in a panic, but with respect. They understood how important the group was, and they knew fans were emotionally invested. Adjustments needed to happen, and the writers worked quickly, not to erase anyone, but to honor the story in a way that stayed true to the family theme. Removing Jimmy from ongoing arcs wasn't about cutting him out. It was about allowing him the space he needed in real life while keeping the larger narrative moving forward for the fans. Fans respond with love and support. When fans learned that Jimmy would not be appearing for a while, the support was overwhelming. Social media filled with appreciation posts, favorite moments, heartfelt messages, and artwork celebrating his contributions. The wrestling world showed once again that its fans are more than spectators. They're a community built on shared passion. Across different promotions, different fan bases, and even different countries, people came together to send love and support, proving that no matter how stories change, the hearts behind them never get forgotten. The emotional weight on Roman moving forward. Roman has always carried tremendous responsibility as the leader of one of the most impactful storylines in decades. Losing a key partner in that story, at least for now, meant he had to find a new emotional balance. The man who preaches strength and leadership on TV was suddenly dealing with a real-life heartbreak backstage. But he kept showing up, kept performing, and kept honoring the work he and Jimmy built together. It wasn't easy, but his dedication to the craft and to the fans kept him pushing forward. Jimmy's legacy remains untouched. Regardless of temporary storyline changes, Jimmy's contributions remain undeniable. He helped redefine tag team wrestling, elevated his partners, enhanced dramatic storytelling, and brought authenticity to every segment he touched. His work behind the scenes, encouraging younger performers, energizing the locker room, supporting his real family members, will always be remembered. No rewrite, no shift, no absence can change how much he has meant to this era of wrestling. The future of the bloodline. The group will continue evolving, because that's what great stories do. Roman, Jay, Solo, and everyone involved will find new layers to explore, honoring what came before without pretending the absence doesn't matter. Jimmy's chapter isn't deleted, it's simply paused. Wrestling stories bend, twist, grow, and reshape themselves constantly. What matters most is that the bond behind the story remains intact, and this family, on screen and off, still supports each other no matter where life takes them next. Why this story matters. This isn't a tale of scandal or corporate manipulation. It's a human story. It's about performers who care deeply about their craft and even more deeply about each other. It's about the emotional cost of sudden changes, the love that binds real wrestling families, and the resilience required to keep going, even when the script of life shifts unexpectedly. Jimmy stepping away reminded fans everywhere that behind every storyline are people with hearts, histories, and connections stronger than any storyline. What happens next? If you think the bloodline story ends here, it doesn't. It simply transforms. And whatever comes next, new rivalries, new chapters, new emotional twists, the heartbeat Jimmy helped create will always echo through the story. Because family isn't something that disappears. It evolves.